Trojans Radio Network. Trojans Live begins at the top of the hour. This is the ESPN LA Trojans Radio Network. Trojans Live begins at the top of the hour. This is the ESPN LA Trojans Radio Network. Trojans Live begins at the top of the hour.
Open in 2 minutes.
This is the ESPN LA Trojans Radio Network. Trojans Live begins at the top of the hour. This is the ESPN LA Trojans Radio Network. Trojans Live begins at the top of the hour. This is the ESPN LA Trojans Radio Network. Trojans Live begins at the top of the hour.
Open in 1 minute.
This is the ESPN.
.30 seconds.
Network. Trojans Live begins at the top of the hour.
15.
Greetings, football fans. This is the ESPN LA USC Trojan Media Network.
Presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
Ready for football?
Here we go, Monday, November 11th, 2024. Time for Trojans Live on this Veterans Day Monday evening. The bye week is behind us. Time to get ready for homecoming weekend at the Coliseum on Saturday. USC, Nebraska. We get you set tonight on Trojans Live. Coach Lincoln Riley will tell us what's ahead for the week and for Saturday. Plus, we'll talk about the women's basketball team that is 2-0 so far on the season and so much more. Let's do it.
Watkins down the right alley for the Trojans. Flips it up and in without a sight to the basket. She gets it to go plus the foul.
It's time for Trojans Live on this Monday night right now. The exclusive USC Trojans Coaches Show. Behind-the-scenes insights and breaking news from the student athletes who play for the Cardinal and Gold. Trojans Live is presented by Monster Energy. Monster Energy, unleash the beast. Unleash the beast. It's time for your host. Live from Los Angeles, here are Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, and Cody Kessler.
Hello and welcome to Trojans Live, presented by Monster Energy on ESPN LA 710 across the USC Trojans Media Network. I am Jordan Moore alongside Sean Cody, and we're shifting some things around tonight. We've got Keely, your joining us as a co-host tonight. And we've moved the schedule a little bit, and we will start with women's basketball. We've got a real star in our house, Kiki, Iriafen. The Women's Spotlight is brought to you by Sprouts Farmers Market, open 7 days a week. Visit your neighborhood Sprouts for good-for-you groceries and great prices on the freshest produce. USC women's basketball, number 3 in the nation, already knocked off a top 20 team in Paris. Kiki, welcome to Trojans Live. Welcome to the Trojan family. Kiki's a grad transfer from Stanford. We watched her in amazement up there, and very happy to steal you down here. How's your experience as a Trojan so far? You got a free trip to Paris. That's a pretty good way to start it.
I did. Thank you, One, for having me on your show. Paris was a dream. I think, having your first ever one USC game, but my first game of my senior season. So it was just a blessing to be in Paris. The architecture is great. The food was great. The pastries. And then to really grind out a tough win. We had to fight for every single thing. But I think Paris allowed my teammates and I to bond as we are going to, face tougher battles along the season.
Ooh, Sean's going to ask a pastry question.
Oh, yeah, I'm a big croissant guy. If you don't know, Kiki, that's very well known on this show that we like croissants. But I want to talk about, obviously, it was a great game, a tough game, tough battle in Paris, and then you come back and you put a butt whipping on Cal Poly. How what kind of battle is that when it gets out of hand like that in that game?
Yeah, I think Ole Miss, we're glad that we won the game, but we weren't satisfied. So I think Cal Poly kind of got the brunt of what we've been working on in practice since we came back from Paris, and we want to be sharp. It doesn't matter who we're playing, regardless of what school we're playing. We want to make sure we're on our details. So I think we really honed in on that once we got back, and then for our game tomorrow, the same thing. We want to, make sure we have the same habits so that when we play those top 25 teams that we can take care of business.
This time a week ago, you were international, and then you had a game on Saturday, a game tomorrow. What's been the recovery and prep like for you guys?
Well, I just came from a massage, so I'm really grateful for my coaches for setting that up for me. But we really prioritize our recovery, so ice baths, getting your treatment, all of that is really, really prioritized on our team.
Did you get jet lag? Did you get jet lag worse when you got there or when you came home?
Honestly, going there was worse. We got there around 2 p.m. and we all wanted to go to sleep, but it was no, business as usual. But I think, honestly, the city was so beautiful that you really didn't care. You really didn't care about how tired you were.
It seemed like a cool arena. What was the actual playing the game like? It was also interesting too because it looked like you guys were behind LED boards. It felt a little bit different. Yeah,
so we played in the official Paris basketball arena, which I think was built or unveiled 6 months ago, so pretty new.
The house that Wembanyama built.
Exactly. There you go. But no, it was really well done. Everything was great. But because they play internationally, the court or the lane was a little bit wider.
Oh, nice.
So they had to shrink that down for us because we don't use all of that space. But the facilities were great. The locker rooms, everything from top to bottom was a great experience for us and then for our fans. We had a pretty great turnout from USC fans too. So I think that's really what helped us propel and get the W as well.
Kiki, talk about the expectations for this team. Obviously, USC last year made a nice run. You had a fantastic year last year. You're joining up with the squad. What are the expectations for this year's women's basketball team?
High. I'd say very high expectations, but it's nothing that we don't expect from ourselves. So there is this outside noise of what USC needs to be, but I think we are kind of honing that challenge. We're no, we want to be win the Big Ten championship regular season. We want to be national champions. So again, it's just honing in on every single thing, every single day, regardless of who we're playing. But I don't think we're running away from any expectations. We want to live up to them and challenge ourselves to, play at the highest standard.
You've had a range of games in the sense of, like we said, a close game that you guys won and then a blowout win. This is a new roster with so many new pieces. How much learning have you had to do just gelling-wise as a team?
Oh, my gosh. Just me personally, there's been so much learning. The programs are very different from where I came from to where I am now. So, my coach allows me to play more freely, but that means I need to have a greater IQ. I need to know what my teammates like. So it's been an adjustment for me, but I think my coaches have done a great job of making me feel comfortable and putting me in the right spots. But I think this team, we love each other. We love hanging out with each other off the court. But I think, the more that we keep playing with each other, the chemistry on the court will really start to develop even more.
You're listening to Kiki Iriafen on Trojans Live. And last year you were part of a great tandem, but it was like a 4-5 tandem, sort of big to big. Now you're obviously part of a tandem with Juju Watkins, more of a ball handler, wing, guard. How's that chemistry? How do you work when you have two elite scorers and you guys are trying to find each other on the court and trying to find your spaces and learn each other's games?
I think so far it's been great. You know, we still want to be better. We still want to really know each other ins and outs. Like, I want to know exactly where she wants her screens. She's asking me, Kiki, where do you want the ball? So I think we're still working through, like, you know, what does the other person like? But I think it's been smooth because we're both very unselfish. Like, she wants the best for her team, and I want to do the best for USC as well. And something that I said coming in here was, like, I'm not trying to take over anything. I kind of just want to fit that missing puzzle piece. And, you know, they made it to the Elite Eight, but I want to help us push past that and get to the national championship. So I think we have a lot of great talent all around from 1 to 15, and we're all very unselfish. So I think, as you guys alluded to, it's kind of just making sure that chemistry is clicking at all times.
You know, you do a lot of things. It's not just about basketball. Whether you have, you know, reading your bio, graduating engineering, some modeling in your career. You know, tell us about that Renaissance woman effect that you like, dabbling in everything and finding out, you know, about life and what you're into.
Yeah, I don't want to just limit myself to one thing. I'm not a basketball player. I'm a human, and I like to do a bunch of different things. So I think basketball has opened so many opportunities for me to model, to, you know, work on the business side and really meet great people. I went to a USC Next Level Sports event, and I met so many great key people a few weeks ago that, you know, I plan to reach out to them in the future and, like, any endeavors that I want. So I think it's, you know, basketball is a great tool, and I'm just trying to maximize everything that I can with basketball in my last year of NIL.
I did see napping on your interest list.
Definitely.
Does that count as an interest? Is that a hobby?
That's probably number one. I love naps.
I'm exceptional at it, so I just didn't know if I could add that to my resume.
It is a
as
skill
well.
too. Napping is not
Like
for everybody.
this,
You can
on the
you gotta
spot,
be able to go out.
anywhere. It could be in
Just
the car,
anywhere.
on the plane.
Maybe I'm not good at it.
No, I'm going to switch it back to non-napping questions, if that's okay. Yes. You mentioned your time previously at Stanford. You got to play under a legendary women's basketball head coach, Coach Vanderveer. What lessons did you learn from her that you'll take with you?
I think Coach Tar really molded me into who I am today, and just, like, slowing down. I feel like I've always been a player that's like, I want to be so fast, but she's really, like, slow down. And once you are able to slow the game down, then you can choose when you want to be fast, when you want to be slow. And I think also playing under Coach Tar, I learned how to play with other superstars. I've always played with superstars my whole college career, so I felt like the transition to USC was super easy for me because I'm playing with another mega superstar, but I know what to do. Like, I kind of know my role in certain situations, but I think she just really taught me how to slow the game down, which is something that I struggled with early on my freshman year.
Well, you're a superstar yourself, the National Power Forward of the Year last year, projected to be a very high pick in the WNBA. What do you want to work on in your game in terms of getting ready for the next levels? You said this was your first game, so everything's going to be your last, and then you know, you move on to this league, which is just getting so much better year after year. It is so competitive. What do you want to work on so that you'll be ready to go for that?
I think defense is huge for me. Where I was before, I was kind of just a helper, and then I had another helper behind me, so if I got beat, she was blocking that out the stands. So I think here, it's like my coaches challenge me. They want me to guard on the perimeter, which I think is going to be necessary in the pro level if I want to stay on a roster, if I want to play good minutes. So I'm really up for the challenge, but, like, being able to move my feet quickly, guard 1 through 5 is something that I've been working on. And then, of course, I want the three-point shot. I want to do all the sellies, everything. So I'm always working on my shot. But I think USC does a great job of making me comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Obviously great at inside out. You want the three-point shot, but tell me about the post moves. I want to know. I was always in the post. I want to know what's your favorite go-to post move in the crunch time of a game.
Recently, it's been I'm going to dribble to the middle, spin back, and finish with my left hand. But typically, I don't even like layups. I like a little jab step shot. That's, like, my go-to most of the time.
So face up, turn a little face up.
I'm a face up girl. Yeah.
I was back to the basket.
Well,
no handles.
The mid-range jumper is money. Every time that thing comes off your hand, I think it's going down. It's such an impressive game. She's so much fun to watch. It's such an incredible team, really just taking over this university in so many ways. So we're very happy to have you. We can't wait to watch you this season. There's 2 chances you get this week. Cal State Northridge on Tuesday. That's tomorrow. It's a 7 o'clock tip. Santa Clara is a day game on Friday, a noon game. So a chance to get out there during the day. And then a week from Saturday, we just got some great news that the USC-UCLA game will kick off at night.
Football.
That allows football. which allows USC women's
doubleheader.
basketball Notre Dame plenty of time. That's 1 o'clock at Galen. That is just a matchup of stars. Notre Dame has a great player in Hannah Hidalgo. So that's just the rivalry that we think of in football is coming to women's basketball as well. So some really cool games coming up. Kiki is a great player to watch on this team as well. So thank you so much for joining us. Monster Energy is the official energy drink partner of USC. Tear into a can of the meanest energy drink on the planet. Monster Energy, unleash the beast. And there's a new blood donation competition happening among Big Ten schools, and $1 million prize is on the line. If you bleed Cardinal and Gold, donate blood and submit for the USC Trojans at big10.org/Abbott before December 7. All right, as I said, we're moving things around a little bit because the football team is still on the practice field. So we still have Lincoln Riley to come. We still have Lake McCree to come, but our football roundtable is actually next on Trojans Live.
USC Trojan fans. Smart. Planning your next journey.
Media Network, presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
And yes, on this Monday night Veterans Day edition of Trojans Live, we take a quick time out from football and talk about the women's basketball team. 2-0 so far on the season.
Straight away for Borland. Shaw, right wing for Gooseby. With Smith on her. Down the left alley, goes up in traffic. Rejected by Smith. Up ahead, Watkins on the pass from Marshall for the Trojans. Takes it to the cup and lays it in. Watkins with 16. 63-23.
Trojans Live continues right now. Back to your host. Here's Jordan Moore.
Hey, Trojan fans, celebrate every Trojan win and enjoy the sweet taste of victory with a free donut at Ralph's the day after the win. Download your digital coupon from the Ralph's app to score your free donut at any Los Angeles area Ralph's store. And when you've got good beer and good vibes, it's all bueno. Stone Buena Vesa Salt and Lime Lager is Baja-inspired and imported from San Diego, located near you at findoutstonebrewing.com. Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, Keely, you're here for our football roundtable. No, Cody Kessler, he is out sick this week. We got some bad news. Right before we went on air, we found out that legendary USC football coach John Robinson, JR, passed away. A fight on forever moment there for one of the greats. Certainly, John Robinson was before my time in terms of as a coach. Yeah, I had 2 stints at USC. And that was after he was coaching under John McKay. So truly a great Trojan. And then even while I've been around, he's always been around. Sort of an ambassador of this program really during my time here at USC. That's how I've gotten to know him. An old ball coach who had a lot of stories to tell for sure, and a great one gone.
Yeah, hard to find someone who doesn't love John Robinson, J-Rob. A lot of guys. I obviously didn't play under him, just kind of missed his portion at USC and a legendary run. He had some good times at USC, and players just, you talk to former players who you got a chance to play under him and just loved the way he coached, and just a real player's coach on so many levels. My experience with him was, he'd pop into a meeting or pop into your D-line room with Coach O and him going back and forth. Those kind of memories will, just imprint on your brain when you're a young football player, and just always had a smile and something to tell you about your game and how you're doing, and so always cared about you as a player, not just as a player but also as a human being. So really tough news for the Trojan family out there, because J-Rob was one of the great ones.
Yeah, he was honored in 2022, I believe, at the Coliseum, and I got to interview him, and just his love still for USC was just oozing, and it's just so fun to see people who just bleed Cardinal gold.
Yeah.
We talked about that, Jordan, but he's just one of those guys who just, you knew that he was a Trojan through and through. So it was an honor to interview him, and obviously wish him and the family the best.
Fight on forever, John Robinson. Will certainly be missed around here. A week of change, a bye week makes sense, certainly, for it to be a week of change. Obviously, things not going the way the program wanted to on the football side. And so the big news of the week since last we talked is Jade Mayava comes in and will be the starting quarterback this Saturday against Nebraska. So that's obviously something we'll talk to Lincoln Riley about when he gets here. But how do you guys expect things to be different on the field? How will it play out differently?
Well, you're hoping to create a spark. Obviously, not getting enough wins this year. You got to sometimes make a change up and feel out how your team is doing. Obviously, Lincoln has the pulse of his team and maybe knows they needed a spark plug. And by no means Miller Moss was, I think, the sole reason for why the team was losing. But maybe you're hoping as a coach, I think you implant a player who can maybe draw some life out of you and maybe cause the defenses to have a little more to look at. So 3 games here, got to finish strong this season because it means a lot moving forward, and hopefully you want to get into a bowl game still, got to find 6 wins. So I think you're just trying to find some life here.
Yeah, and he adds another element to Lincoln Riley's offense with that running ability. I believe it was his first play as a Trojan. He took the ball, pulled the ball, and ran with it. So he has that ability. You are able to kind of add another layer to that. And it's interesting because both Nebraska and USC had a bye week prior to this matchup.
Yep.
So, and changes on both sides. So we'll see how both defenses adjust for that, because there's definitely new faces on both offenses.
Yeah, definitely some Nebraska things to talk to Coach Riley about as well. And I was looking up Jade Mayava, doing some research before we came on here. And it's interesting. There's 2 sort of areas where I think you could really see a difference. One, I think, is in the red zone run game. He's not as big a runner, at least, he had a full season, if people don't know, at UNLV last year. He threw for 3,000 yards. He threw for 17 touchdowns. He had 10 interceptions. He never ran for more than 40 yards in a game. So I don't necessarily know that he's going to go out there and run for 85 yards on Saturday. Probably a little bit more like what we saw from Caleb Williams. And in that sense, it was the red zone where you have another person to think about. I mean, it's almost just a numbers game when you get down there. And you think about the goal line stand that Washington made that maybe ultimately was the difference in the last game, but having that extra guy who's a real threat to pull it puts more pressure on the defense in that spot.
Well, you think about the defensive end and the linebacker usually who kind of responsible for that play when when you get that RPO action and you're that defensive end and USC's running the ball, Woody Marks is going to run the ball. I'm crashing down. I'm not worried about so much pulling out the ball and running for it. So it definitely adds an element, and I think you saw his nimbleness. I mean, just on that play alone, you just saw it was fluid. It didn't look forced. It didn't look like it was having trouble running. It was a tough go. So it was nice to see that change in pace, and I think, like you said, Keely, it'll add an extra layer for defenses to get ready for.
For sure.
The other thing I was going to bring up was the vertical passing game.
Yeah.
We talked about that at times not being here this season, and when I look at UNLV last season, he led the Mountain West in yards per attempt. So much of what we've seen, this year has been that short passing game, controlled passing game. maybe a chance to push it vertically down the field a little bit more.
Yeah, that's something that I think it's been missing from this season. That's something that was kind of a hallmark of the last 2 seasons with Lincoln Riley, that deep shot, that kind of, keep defenses honest, and that kind of wow factor as well. So it would be interesting. That was a great stat poll, Jordan, to see how Jaden kind of plays the field vertically in that sense.
Yeah, if you listen to Cody all year, it's been concerning that we're able to get, take the top off. Some of the balls have been kind of short on the year. So maybe, I haven't seen Jaden throw a bunch, but you listen to Cody Kessler talk about him. He raves about, how it comes off his hand. So we'll find out if he can get it out there for those receivers.
And there's some breakdowns, right? Cody did a breakdown.
Yes.
You guys did a breakdown before the season, because I do remember a lot of Jaden's highlights being vertical passes, long passes.
Yes. If you go to our episode that says the 9 transfers that USC got, we have a full film breakdown of that, and I probably will clip it for this week as well.
Yeah,
so
please
find
do.
it on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, please do. Victory Pod USC is the Instagram. You can find them on YouTube, but check that out, because I think it'll be interesting to see. Certainly makes this game more intriguing coming up this weekend. It's USC versus Nebraska, presented by United Airlines. 1 p.m. kick on Fox. We will go on the USC Trojans Media Network at 11 a.m. with the Trojan Tailgate Show presented by Yeti. All right, I think the head coach Lincoln Riley is headed off the practice field and headed our way, so we should have him next coming up on Trojans Live.
Is the ESPN LA USC Trojan Media Network, presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
What does air mean?
It's a touchdown, USC.
And yes, it is Trojans Live on this Veterans Day Monday night, getting you set for USC Nebraska Saturday at the Coliseum. Kickoff at 1 p.m. for homecoming weekend.
Fake to Marks, a throw. It's Kyle Ford at the 10. Kyle Ford at the 5. Kyle Ford in the end zone. Touchdown, USC. And the Trojans have tied the game with the extra point to come here in the third quarter. A fantastic third quarter. When all seemed lost at halftime, this Trojan team has found a way to fight back.
Now back to the campus of USC at Heritage Hall, broadcasting in Los Angeles. Here are your hosts, Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, and Cody Kessler.
Fight on, Trojans, and fly on with ONT. Ontario International Airport is a proud sponsor of our USC Trojans. Visit SoCalSoEasy.com to book your journey through ONT today. And USC's head coach interview is presented by iTrust Capital, the official crypto platform of the USC Trojans. Keely Yoren for Cody Kessler with Sean Cody and Jordan Moore. Head coach Lincoln Riley, fresh off the practice field. We appreciate you taking the time, Coach. Coach, we just talked about it. Obviously, some sad news here at USC, the passing of of legendary head coach John Robinson. A lot of great coaches before you here at USC. JR among them. I don't know how well you knew him or if you got to know him, but certainly a meaningful presence around these halls.
Yeah, a tough day. I just found out the news coming off the practice field and walking in here, and I think that's one of the greatest things at our university and at our football program is all the greats that have come before, the coaches, the players, everybody that's made this special. And days like this are especially tough, although I'm sure it'll kind of rev back up all the great memories and accomplishments that Coach was a part of here. So just want to, from our entire football family, just want to offer him, his family condolences, and just know that we appreciate him. He'll obviously forever be a huge part of USC football.
Yeah, Coach. No slow moments here at USC. Even during a bye week, you're breaking ground on new fields. You're recruiting, and then you got a quarterback change. So just take us through the bye week and all that encompassed this last week for the Trojans.
Just a normal relaxing week. So yeah. It was a good week. The guys, we got after it on the practice field. Felt like made some real improvement, really challenged the guys to attack the week, and felt like they really did, and so was pleased with the way we practiced. Obviously, Thursday having the groundbreaking for the new football facility was a significant day. I mean, for a lot of reasons, to see so many people, past and present, that USC football means a great deal to them. To see this facility start to come together, which is, I think, symbolic in a lot of ways. Something that has needed to happen here, and it took obviously a massive.
You should have seen the place I played in when I was here, Coach. Jeez.
Oh, I've heard. I've heard. It's obviously a massive undertaking too, just to do all that this university had to do, and all the people involved to get this done. I think the results and the aftershocks of it, they're already starting to happen. They'll happen more and more as time goes on. But just to see all of us come together to be able to celebrate that moment, I think that the enormity of the situation for those that were there, I think felt it. And it was an incredible event. Makes you smile when you think about what's coming, the new facility and all that comes with that.
What are you most excited about when it comes to the new facility?
Oh, a lot of things. I mean, I think the functional day-to-day for our staff and our players, being able to prepare, to train, to recover in a way that I think will be very, very unique and a huge competitive advantage. I'm excited for when our former players, the alumni, all the people, again, that have contributed to this get a chance to walk in and see that, because everybody is a part of building that. Like, that doesn't happen without any of you all out there. And so for people to be able to come back and see it and be proud that, this is their home. They had a hand in building this. And then certainly for our recruits, when they walk in the door and see that, they're going to walk into what we believe is going to be the best football facility that there is. And that's been our goal from day one and putting it together. So, I think all of those things, and obviously we're ready for it to be done yesterday.
You're listening to head coach Lincoln Riley on Trojans Live. Coach, since last we talked, you make the tough decision to make the change at quarterback. What are you hoping Jade Mayava brings to spark this team?
Well, we're excited for his opportunity, and as you referenced, it's not an easy decision. I've been a part of times in the past where maybe a position wasn't playing well, and it was pretty obvious. That was not necessarily the case here. We could very easily, as I pointed out, the day we announced it, I mean, you could very easily not change one thing, not one play from the quarterback position this year, and we could have a really, really, really good record. And so, there has been a lot of positives that Miller Moss has certainly brought to our offense, brought to our team. And so, it was a tough decision. We felt like Jaden had really been progressing, and that it was the right time for the team to give him this opportunity. And he's had now a couple of weeks, or obviously it'll be 2 weeks when we get to the game, to be able to prepare. And so I'm excited for him. I mean, he's progressed. He's a talented kid that I think has just gotten better and better as time goes on, and we're excited to go out there and see what he does.
Coach, I saw a couple pictures of you recruiting over the week. When it comes to recruiting, there's a million different ways you can spread it. You can try to be all local, or be across the country handpicking guys. Where you lie at when it comes to putting the team you want together as far as being local, or grabbing guys from certain places, or handpicking guys, or you like these guys in this area? Like, where does your strategy lie when it comes to recruiting?
Well, I think every school is different. Every situation's different, and you've got to do at the end of the day what you believe is best in your current situation to build it. And certainly for us, the priority from a location standpoint will always be right here in Southern California. I spent the entire day in this area, as did multiple of our other coaches, and that will always be a priority because we do have some really great talent here, some great coaching, and that's always going to be important to not just get guys, but get the right guys here.
Yep.
I think we would be foolish to not pay attention to the fact that we are at a school that has a national brand, a school that can attract some of the best from all over the country. And if you look at USC's history, there's obviously a lot of great players that have come through, walked through these halls and played on that field, from all over the country. So we know some years there'll be a little bit more of that. Some years there'll be less. But no, it starts for us in Southern California. It always will. And then we want to take advantage of the other opportunities that we're going to have outside these state lines as well.
This is the first season where quarterback coach wasn't necessarily in your title. Did that evolve how you approach the quarterback situation and making that change?
Good question. The role has definitely evolved a little bit, and I think Coach Heward's done a fantastic job. I think we've played well off of each other. There's definitely some days where I'm in there, more than others. I'm certainly in there some every day, but I have a lot of trust in Coach and the job that he's done with our guys, and it certainly has allowed me to be, more present in other areas of the program, which was the ultimate goal. But I certainly don't feel too far away from it with the way that we've constructed it to be able to coach those guys or to make a decision like that. So I feel like we found a good balance so far, and we'll keep tweaking it to find the best route that we can.
In terms of the bye week, you had an early bye week this year, and then you also have this late bye week. Was this a good one to sort of reset the team, coming off a loss, going into these big 3 games? Was it most important because you had a chance to get some guys healthy? Obviously, you played a little bit banged up. Was it a great time to look at some younger players or some guys popping out? What did you feel like was the most beneficial of having this late bye week?
Yeah, probably getting some guys healthy and then getting a chance to continue to pump reps into this young talent that's got us pretty excited and that we're starting to see a lot of flashes from. Those were, I think, far and away the 2 biggest benefits, and not necessarily just the guys that haven't been able to play, but we've also been playing with a lot of guys that needed a few days.
Yeah.
And we've played in. When you play in all these barn burners like we have, there hasn't been a chance really to catch your breath, kind of per se. And so, our guys, we've been in physical ball games. We've been in obviously a lot of close ball games. And so for some of the guys, even the ones that have still been playing, to be able to rest up and heal up, I think was huge. And then, we pumped a lot of reps into the young guys. We see some – it's always kind of funny. You get to the bye week, you get to bowl practices, and you catch your breath and you start watching these guys, you start to see some of the improvements that they've made, some of the jumps. And some of it's guys that are starting to play reps for us right now on Saturdays, and then some of it's guys that maybe aren't playing yet in the games, but you start to see their development and all the work that's gone behind the scenes and their developmental lifts throughout the season and all their scout team work. And you're like, that guy looks a little different than maybe he looked during fall camp. You start to see some of that, which was exciting and I thought very positive during the week.
Nebraska's next. USC versus Nebraska coming up this homecoming Saturday, a 1 o'clock kick. We will go on at 11 a.m. It's presented by United Airlines. Game will be broadcast on TV on Fox. Don't wait until game time to plan for retirement. Open your free iTrust Capital account today and get your crypto IRA. iTrust Capital is the official cryptocurrency platform of the USC Trojans. And if you want the inside scoop on this game and all things Trojans, be sure to sign up for the 3 Torches presented by Smart & Final. It's a free newsletter. It'll hit your email inbox 3 times a week with game info, player insights, and more. Go to usctrojans.com/3torches and sign up. One more segment with Coach next on Trojans Live.
ESPN LA USC Trojan Media Network. Presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
What does air mean?
It's a touchdown, USC.
And yes, it is Trojans Live on this Veterans Day Monday night, getting you set for USC Nebraska Saturday at the Coliseum. Kickoff at 1 p.m. for homecoming weekend.
Fake to Marks, a throw. It's Kyle Ford at the 10. Kyle Ford at the 5. Kyle Ford in the end zone. Touchdown, USC. And the Trojans have tied the game with the extra point to come here in the third quarter. A fantastic third quarter when all seemed lost at halftime. This Trojan team has found a way to fight back.
Now back to the campus of USC at Heritage Hall, broadcasting in Los Angeles. Here are your hosts, Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, and Cody Kessler.
Ready to take it to the next level? Unleash the beast this college tailgate season with Monster Energy. Tear into a can of the meanest energy drink on the planet, Monster Energy. Unleash the beast. One more segment with the head coach, Lincoln Riley, Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, and Keely Yore. And you guys have made some changes in this bye week. Nebraska coming off a bye, and sounds like they've switched play callers. And Dana Holgerson, somebody you know well, will take over as the OC for them. How does that change preparation? A lot of familiarity there.
Yeah, there is. Dana and I worked together for a long time at Texas Tech, and then we've coached against each other a lot of times, both when he was at Houston and then most recently at West Virginia. And so, yeah, I've known him for a long time. Really, really good coach. It's it's unique timing, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, just kind of late here, and so I think the natural questions will which everybody will discuss will be, all right, how much can you do in a few weeks, and those will be the decisions that they'll have to make. But Dana's a tremendous offensive coach. I mean, has been for a long time. Very innovative, and I'm sure he'll come in and make a positive impact there.
What have you seen from this Coach Rule Nebraska team? Coach, obviously they started pretty hot and then hit some hiccups here midway through the thing. What have you seen from them?
Yeah, they did. They played really well early. Blew Colorado out. Had some big wins. They've really played well defensively all year. They got a really good group, really good defensive line that's led them. They've been tough to run the football on. They've limited people a lot. I mean, really only had one game that got away from them a little bit. So they've played well there. Offensively, obviously they made the coordinator change. They've had some ups and downs there. They're playing some young people. Obviously, got a very talented young quarterback and some really good skill players around them. So, obviously really familiar with Coach Rule. We battled together in the Big 12 for a lot of years. Saw the job that he did in building the program at Baylor. And does a great job, I think, just with kind of the culture and mindset of the group, and have always felt like he's, been really at the top of the game in terms of his ability to do that. So, he's also kind of taken over a big one, a historical one that's had a little bit of its struggles and is battling his way back. But now you definitely see improvement from the previous year, and obviously they got a really committed place. It's a great place. Been able to coach there a few times. One of the very cool places to go play in college football.
Sounds like quarterback Dylan Raiola will be healthy for Saturday. What do you see from him as a quarterback?
He's done a good job. He has. I mean, listen, going in and playing as a true freshman is not easy. I don't care where you are, what you got around you. Especially, in a league like this with a schedule like they've played, like you're going to have your ups and downs. And he's had both. He's had some great moments. He can really, make a lot of off-platform throws, unique arm angles. He's got a really gifted arm. He's a big kid, even though he's young. He's got a really thick build to him. And he's just going to learn more and more as he goes on. But a good player, talented player. He can make some really wow plays and some big time plays and kind of scramble situations, or again times where he's got to make these unique kind of crazy throws, and he's got the ability to do it. So he keeps you on your toes that way. And then obviously with some of the changes I'm sure that they'll make offensively, obviously we're gonna have to be ready to go.
You mentioned it's a great historical matchup, and you're about the same age as Sean and I. When we were kids, Nebraska was incredible. I mean, Tommy Frazier, Lawrence Phillips, remember those teams? Tom Osborne was the coach. Yeah. They were really a premier program in college football then, maybe Florida State around that time. Growing up in Texas, were they like a team you wanted to to go to? Were you guys rooting against them because you were rooting for Texas? How was it growing up where you were?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you fought them because, like you said, when kind of my younger years, they were so dominant.
Yeah.
And then obviously, then they're in the Big 12, and then we start playing against them. We had a great run of games against them when we were at Texas Tech, and some of the great Nebraska teams with Dominican Sue and all of those guys. I mean, they were Bo Pelini really had those guys rolling pretty good as well. And so, the conference change has been not quite kind to them yet. But I mean, is that a result of conference or something else? That's impossible for me to say. But no, they got all the makings. I mean, they got a really supportive fan base. They got a really good coach in there. They got great history, and hard not to imagine them coming back. And I think it's another one of those programs you look at and say, those guys getting better would be good for college football, just because it is such a tremendous program and has been for a long time.
All right, let's do it. USC versus Nebraska, presented by United Airlines, coming up this Saturday afternoon. A nice 1 o'clock kick at the Coliseum. Game will be live on Fox. We will go on at 11 a.m. across the USC Trojans Media Network. Thank you to Coach. We will talk to you next week. Up and coming here is Lake McRee, a leader on this team, great tight end. He's next on Trojans Live.
LA USC Trojans. Resort Casino. We're back with Trojans Live.
It's a touchdown, USC.
And yes, it is Trojans Live on this Veterans Day Monday night, getting you set for USC Nebraska Saturday at the Coliseum. Kickoff at 1 p.m. for homecoming weekend. Now back to the campus of USC at Heritage Hall, broadcasting in Los Angeles. Here are your hosts, Jordan Moore Sean Cody and Cody Kessler.
And your best in the game is brought to you by Old Dominion Freight Line, official freight carrier of USC Athletics, helping the world keep promises. Our best in the game is Lake McRee, redshirt junior tight end, Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, Keely Yor. Lake, what's going on, man? Appreciate you taking the time here on a big homecoming Monday. We talked to Coach about it. You know, obviously a quarterback change that affects you, the entire offense. How do you adjust? Do you take extra reps with Jaden over the last 2 weeks to try to build that chemistry, more conversations? How do you guys do it as an offense on the fly here late in the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think quarterback chemistry is really important with receivers and tight ends. So, you know, it being mid-season change, it's important to do extra stuff after practice with him, whether that's verbal or, you know, he's throwing routes to me and stuff. So I think he's handled it well, though. You know, he's come in. It hasn't really felt like too crazy of a change. I mean, they've rotated those guys throughout the year anyway, so it hasn't been like a huge difference in practice to us. I think obviously the biggest difference will be on Saturday. But no, it's been good. You know, I've tried to, you know, start to build that chemistry a little more. I mean, it's not like I didn't have that chemistry with him. You know, he was here in spring and stuff, so it's nothing new for him.
Obviously, you can build that chemistry on the field with Jaden, but when you have a quarterback change, you know, it's in the locker room. That's a big impact for the guys, right? You know, and you're a captain on this team, so your job is to keep this thing heading the right direction. How do you, as a captain on this team, make sure everyone's behind Jaden, ready to go for this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just have to keep one common goal of being 1-0 every week. I think Coach Riley has done this a long time, and, you know, whatever he says, I think a lot of people or everyone on the team is confident in. So if he wanted to make that position change, and everyone's confident in it and that it's the best for the team. So, you know, we just want to be 1-0 every week. So the coaches are going to put us in the best possible situation for that. And, you know, whatever they tell us to do, we're going to do it to the best of our abilities.
You've been praised so much for the mindset you take in general, but when it comes to rehabbing, and unfortunately had another scary injury incident this season. But how would you describe the mindset you take when it comes to rehabbing your recovery?
I think the mindset I take is the time's going to pass anyway, so it's really, I just try to make the most of it. You know, when you have ACL or a knee injury, those months are going to go by anyway. So I just try to, you know, whatever people can do in 2 weeks, I try to do it in 1 week. So I try to rehab twice a day or even 3 times a day if it's really the beginning, and I think I can get the most out of it. So I just try to, you know, work as hard as I can. You also got to be smart and not overdo it, because then you can set yourself back. But it's, you know, it's tough. You know, it's not something you want to always have to go through, and unfortunately, it's something I've gone through more than I would have liked to. But it also helps. You know, when it happens, it's part of the game. So, you know, it tells me what I need to do going forward.
And tell us about the people that help you along the way here, right? Because, you know, there's so many people that work behind the scenes to make all these athletic programs work. But, you know, in particular football, you know, you're not there alone, at least when you're going through that grind. And, you know, what's that process like as you work with the people in this building to come on back? Yeah,
I can't say enough about the people in this building, you know, all the trainers, doctors, stuff like that. If I'm in there 3 times a day, so are they. You know, they're doing it, and they're also, you know, putting up with me and, you know, giving me more stuff to do. So, I mean, that's 6-7 days a week. So can't thank them enough. You know, a lot of it isn't shown because it's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. But, yeah, I mean, I'm very appreciative of all of them, and they all have a huge role in that.
Obviously, Lake, you had to work with your new quarterback this bye week, but you're also an old dog, man. I mean, I remember when I was in bye weeks late into the season, like, hey, coach, I'm not taking these reps. Get the young guy in there.
Yeah.
So what's a bye week for an old dog like you, man?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about old dog, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is a little bit of that of, you know, having to save your body, and we also have a really young tight end room. So
yeah, get some reps, fellas.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good development week for those guys. While, you know, it's a win-win. You know, being able to develop those guys and also, you know, take a little off the body if we don't have a game that Saturday. But those dudes are coming along real well. I'm excited to see. You know, we're seeing impacts from some of them already this year, and I think we'll see impacts from the other ones in the near future. So. It was good for them, you know, to, you know, be able to get that experience this week. But, yeah, it was definitely a week of I'm not getting thrown in the fire every day. So it was good to take a little bit off the body.
Yep.
Prior to your injury in the beginning of the season, you were USC's leading receiver. What's it been like for you to kind of have that role, that bigger receiving role this season?
Yeah, I mean, it was something I always knew I was capable of. It just, you know, never really got brought to the light. My true freshman year, you know, when I started playing, you know, once I started, really playing and getting thrown the ball, I was like, okay, I can actually play at this level. And I think that confidence really has stuck with me up until this year, even though that was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So I was kind of just proving myself right in the first 2 games. And fortunately, in the third game, had the injury and have been battling back with that. But I think I'm in a good place right now, so I'm excited to see how I finish the season.
Coach has talked about, the program is making strides and the winning will come. And it obviously hasn't come as fast as you guys would have liked this season, as you've struggled at times in close games. But how much have you tried to keep that mentality and sort of, trust the process, if you will, that you guys are improving, even if there have been some setbacks?
Yeah, I mean, obviously our record doesn't show it, but my freshman year, we had a similar record, but the games were much different. Every single game that we've had this year, we could have and should have probably won. So I think that's encouraging to guys not only coming back next year, but finishing out the year is we got what it takes. Like, we've beat really good teams, we've hung with really good teams, and so I think it'll be a big stepping stone of, like, we just got to find the 1 or 2 things that we need to fix that will change the outcome of those close games that might have not gone our way.
Well, lead the way, Lake. Take the Trojans out in the field against Nebraska on Saturday. USC versus Nebraska, presented by United Airlines. A 1 p.m. kick. Trojan Tailgate Show presented by Yeti will go on at 11 a.m. We just have one more segment to come on this Monday. You're listening to Trojans Live.
Portugal.
Pachanga Resort Casino. We're back with Trojans Live.
It's a touchdown, USC.
And yes, it is Trojans Live on this Veterans Day Monday night, getting you set for USC Nebraska Saturday at the Coliseum. Kickoff at 1 p.m. for homecoming weekend. Now back to the campus of USC at Heritage Hall, broadcasting in Los Angeles. Here are your hosts, Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, and Cody Kessler.
One final segment of Trojans Live on a Veterans Day Monday. Thank you so much to all the men and women who serve and have served our country, keep us safe and protect us. We thank you so much for your service. Our over-under is presented by Pachanga Resort Casino, a proud partner of USC Athletics. Over-under 35 pass attempts on Saturday. For context, Miller Moss is averaging 40.2 attempts a game. So under would put you pretty well under what this team has been doing. So the question is, does the offense really change strategically under Jade Mayaba?
I'm going over, but before I go over, I'm going to thank Jordan Moore and Keely Orr for battling through tough sicknesses last week and making it through the game.
Keely wasn't here.
But,
Jordan got me
but
sick.
she went to the game.
Jordan got me sick for the record.
She wasn't sick at the game.
But more importantly, this one goes
Jordan.
out to Cody Kessler in his rookie season, not be able to hack it on a Monday with a cold. So over.
I love how I didn't get that. I don't know if I got slander last week, but
You did not.
oh, nice, thank you.
Well, maybe you,
You
did. I
believe
don't
that?
know.
You believe
Who
that?
remembers?
No, I do not.
Who remembers?
I don't. What's interesting about that stat though, Jordan?
What did you say, Sean? Under?
Over 35.
Okay.
What's interesting though is that USC's been close in every game, obviously.
Yeah.
So you would assume that the pass attempts have increased because of that, right?
Oh, because they're throwing more.
Because they need to.
Yeah, I mean, typically that would be if you were trailing a lot, which they have been trailing certainly at times. But yes, there have not been many games where you end up in that situation where you're like trying to run the clock out.
Yeah, and just passing the ball off. I don't know.
I would expect another close game on Saturday. I mean, who knows? Maybe not. But
I will take
these are two teams that seem pretty evenly matched.
I'll take the under to be different. How about that?
Close game for sure.
Yeah, close game, right? Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a battle. This is a fun one. USC Nebraska. I mean, like I said, great uniform matchup, great pedigree between these two programs. Looking forward to it. We played them not too long ago in the Carroll era. They played, but Nebraska was down and USC was up. So I think this is two programs trying to go in the same direction a little bit, and so this becomes a swing game for the two programs on Saturday. We will talk to you then. Thank you so much. Our guy Efren Beza has stepped in and engineered and produced the show. So thank you to him. Brian Cohen is back at the studio. Thank you to everyone involved. Until then, fight on, everybody.
This has been Trojans Live, presented by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast.
Throw this way, and it is a catch and a fantastic one. Bobbling it to himself, and then on his way down to his back at the 11-yard line, Kyron hunts him. How do you do?
Tune in Monday nights at 6 p.m. on 710 ESPN.